Coffin corner is an interesting and important concept in aviation that deals with the delicate balance of how fast or slow an airplane can fly, especially at very high altitudes. Let's break it down in a way that's easy to understand. What is coffin corner? Imagine you're riding a bike up a steep hill. If you go too slow, you might wobble and fall because you lose balance. But if you go too fast, you might lose control and crash. Airplanes face a similar problem, especially when flying high up in the sky. The coffin corner is a spot where pilots must be extra careful because they are flying in a very tight space where the plane can't go too fast or too slow without running into trouble. Now, let's talk about what happens to an airplane at different speeds and altitudes. How airplanes fly. Airplanes stay in the sky thanks to something called lift. Lift happens when air flows over the wings in a way that helps keep the plane up. For the plane to keep flying smoothly, it needs to go fast enough so that there's enough air flowing over the wings. If the plane goes too slow, the wings can't create enough lift, and the plane might start falling. This is called a stall. On the other hand, if the plane flies too fast, it can run into another problem. At very high speeds, especially near the speed of sound, which is about 767 miles per hour or 1,235 kilometers per hour at sea level, the air starts behaving differently around the airplane. This can make the plane harder to control or even damage it. The speed where this happens is called Mach 1, and when planes fly faster than this, we say they are going supersonic. What happens at high altitudes? The higher an airplane flies, the thinner the air gets. Imagine playing outside on a windy day. It's easy to feel the wind pushing against you. But if the air were thinner, like it is high in the sky, you wouldn't feel that push as much. The same thing happens to airplanes. When the air is thin, the plane has to fly faster to create enough lift to stay in the sky. At high altitudes, two important things start to happen. 1. Stall speed increases. As the air gets thinner, the airplane needs to fly faster to avoid stalling because the wings can't get enough lift from the thin air. 2. The speed of sound decreases. As you go higher, the speed of sound actually becomes lower, so the plane doesn't have to go as fast to reach Mach 1. Now here's the tricky part. As you fly higher, the speed at which the plane might stall gets closer and closer to the speed at which the plane would hit Mach 1. This creates a very narrow window of safe flying speeds. If the plane flies too slow, it could stall and fall. If it flies too fast, it could hit the speed of sound and risk losing control. Why is it called coffin corner? The name coffin corner might sound a little scary, but it's used to show just how dangerous this situation can be. Pilots have to be very careful when flying at high altitudes, because if they get too close to this corner, it can be hard to keep the plane safe. There's very little room for mistakes, which is why pilots receive special training to handle situations like this. How do pilots avoid coffin corner? Modern airplanes have advanced instruments and computers that help pilots avoid flying into the coffin corner. Pilots are trained to know their aircraft's limits and to avoid flying too high or too fast in thin air. When they are getting close to a risky altitude or speed, the airplane's systems will alert them, and they can change their flight path to stay safe. In short, coffin corner is all about keeping the airplane flying in the safe zone, where it's not too slow to stall and not too fast to hit the speed of sound. It's one of the many challenges pilots and engineers have to consider when designing and flying airplanes. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.